Perspective varies with the focal length of the lenses in use. The longer the focal length, the more perspective compresses and the field of view narrows. In these examples, the camera was moved backwards for each increase of focal length, so the image is the same size in each frame. All exposures were at f8. We'll start with the 17mm wide-angle lens. This is about the widest you can go without getting distortion. It's got quite a wide field of view and a very deep depth of field. So everything from the foreground to infinity would possibly be in focus. Quite a good lens for using indoors actually. It can make rooms look even larger with the perspective. Now on to a 35mm wide angle. This is similar to a 17mm, but it's got a narrower field of view and a slightly smaller depth of field. But still, it's good for architecture, it's good for landscapes, and it's quite a good all-round lens. Now the next lens is a 50mm. It's quite a well-used focal length, especially if you buy a prime lens. They usually have a very wide aperture, something like f1.2, f1.4 or f1.8. As we progress up the lengths of the focal lengths, it's got a slightly narrower field of view and it's got a slightly less depth of field, but it's a good lens for full length or portraits, and it's quite a good one. Now we come to the first of the short telephotos, a 135. Quite a good all-round lens, quite good for portraits and full lengths. But again, as we get up the scale of zoom of the focal lengths, we get a narrower field of view and also a shorter perspective. Now we come on to a 200mm. Now we're really getting into the realms of difficulty holding a lens like this. Probably suited more for fitting on a tripod, or unless you're very good and can handle it, you might find out that it's difficult to get a really sharp image. And finally, we come to a 300mm. This will have a very narrow field of view and a very narrow depth of field, but it's good. It's a good lens for wildlife and such things as that. A good point to make about long lenses is that it's a good idea to use a shutter speed that is faster than the focal length of the lens you're using. In fact, this is all right for all the focal lengths. So you say like the 200mm, you really want a shutter speed of 1/250th or better for a sharp image. So the best focal lengths for portraits would be between something like 50mm and 135, would give a good perspective and would supply really pleasing results. If your camera is a crop frame sensor or one with micro four thirds, and you use lenses that are created for full frame, you find you will get a little bit of a extension to the focal length. With a Nikon and Sony cameras, it's a increase of 1.5. With Canon, it's 1.6. And if you've got a micro four thirds setup, you increase the focal length by a factor of 2. So on my Nikon system, my 50mm prime lens, which is built for a full frame camera, the 50mm becomes 75mm, which is quite good. and my 70 to 300 zoom, at the 300 end of the zoom, it increases the focal length or the appearance of focal length to 450 millimeters, which gives it just that little bit extra reach. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed looking at this. It might give some people a few ideas, and we'll try and do some more pretty soon. Thank you.